Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk to you guys about something that we oftentimes overlook when I and other people who really get into training programming and different types of periodization, and when we talk about things like linear periodization versus non-linear, using daily undulating periodization versus old school block Soviet type periodization and all these progression patterns. We oftentimes overlook that sometimes people whose goals are not to be the top half a percentile athletes don't always have to have patterns this elaborate to reach their goals or to be just in the top 1%. And case in point, one of my regular subscribers asked me a question yesterday in the comments. And yes, this guy is legit. I've also added him on my Facebook because I interact with him enough on my channel that I've added him there. And he is legitimately as big and as strong as he seems to be in his comments. And he asked me what I thought of his progression pattern. This guy's not a powerlifter or a bodybuilder. He just trains to be big and strong, and he is big and strong as fuck. But he works with a weight that he can do 5 reps with, and over the weeks or months he tries to get 6 reps with it, 7 reps, 8 reps, and when he can finally do 10 reps with a given weight, he adds weight and works with a weight that he can do 5 reps with. And he said, for example, what he did with his bench press recently, he kept working with 405 on the bench press until he could do it 10 times. And then once he got to 10 times, he works with 455 for 5 reps now, and he's trying to add that up, and he's trying to eventually get to 500 pounds for 5 reps. And he asked me what I thought of his progression pattern, and I joked back with him that, yeah, someone who can bench 405 pounds for 10 reps is asking me what I think about their progression pattern. Really? But what do I think about his progression pattern? That is a very old school method. Guys were doing that shit back in the 50s and 60s. Back in the day when the strongest and only drug they had around was Dianabol. They didn't have access to all this Russian periodization information, and some of these guys were still big and strong as hell, and that's what guys used to often do back in the day. That's a very old school but time-proven method. Not necessarily for someone to become a top power lifter, but someone who just wants to be all around big and strong. That's a very viable method to use for all your big compounds. And ironically, there is someone who is currently an IFBB pro and who is a world record holder in powerlifting and raw powerlifting, who that's how he trains. He actually advocates that progression system still to this day publicly when he talks to people, and that is what he uses personally. Now, granted, most of us are not going to have the level of supplementation that individual has, but it's still interesting that he's promoting this idea. But it sometimes goes to show you that sometimes the very simplistic, old school methods that guys have been using for 50 or 60 years or more and use these things to become massively big and strong, they still work today. If someone wanted a very simplistic training protocol who just had the goals of trying to get big and strong as hell, they could use this program. They could do just that on all their big compound lifts. They could start with 5 rep sets and slowly build up however long it took to eventually get to 10 reps with that weight, and then add weight until it was heavy enough that they could only do 5 reps again, and start over and do this month after month, year after year. You do that for 9 or 10 years and eat enough food, you're probably going to be a monster. And there's nothing fancy about that. That is as simplistic as it gets. Alright guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. I don't know, I got that silverback action going in these videos with my arms to the front. I've got those long ape arms. That's why I'm such a good deadlifter and I'm such a terrible bench presser. But hold on, let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go.